Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are in the world today. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Maximizing Cost and Maximizing Your Budget with ZIP+4 Codes. I will be your moderator today, and I'd like to introduce you to our two panelists, Thierry Jaccoud, our CEO, and Julia Ruiter, GIS Data Analyst. Before we start, I'd like to remind you of a few good housekeeping rules. You will be automatically muted upon entry, but you can enter your questions at the end in the chat, and we will address those during the Q&A sessions. You will also receive a copy of the slides and the recording. And without further ado, I'd like to give the floor over to Thierry. Enjoy the webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to drive you through this presentation, the introduction, and the overview of what we do. And Julia is going to take us in a review of this product and content, and show you a use case as well as a short live demonstration. As always, our webinar are quite short, so it's about 15 to 20 minutes that's going to take. Let's get into it. Yeah, GeoJunxion is a company that have a long history, but the brand has been relaunched or launched last year in October. And with this, we based what we do today with more than 25 years of experience, a company that was called ZND in location-aware content and software. What we obviously will maintain is our strong customer relationship and our really focus on quality, supported by a very mature and cost-effective process. And we're evolving towards a company that really focuses on high-value dynamic content that promotes safety and sustainability, and creating and become the junction of where location meets intelligence. As a publicly traded company, we obviously have a supervisory board. Here is just an overview of who are the key players in our companies. So you see a couple of brands. Really, we do a good mix of industry experts, some that has been here in this company for many years, some others coming from other industries, giving a really good broad overview of this location industry. Where are we? Our headquarters and where I'm speaking to you today is in Kappel on the IJssel, but it's near Rotterdam in Netherlands. And we have sales offices in Germany, in Italy for South Europe, and in North America, in Tampa, Florida for the US. We also have production in Pune, India, which we have been having for the last 20 plus years. So what do we do? One thing that is based on our really long experience on creating location content, we offer this know-how, this 25 plus know-how as a service, and what we call location intelligence services. So creating here bespoke and tailor-made content for the location industries on demand, as well as part of this, our outdoor venue plan, which is our new product. We create, bespoke and customized maps for outdoor venues. Moving on to the premium location content, this is a content really that focus on our vision to become, the players in the safety and sustainability content, which is a a content set in 3 different areas: safety, environment, and health. But today we are going to talk really on the basis of all what we do, which is location-aware content, which is the basic of the foundation of relocation-aware company. And in this, obviously, we have built over the years a strong and global coverage of a digital map, which part of this components, what is always very important, is the zip boundaries of many countries, including the US. So today we are going to focus on the ZIP+4 boundaries and polygons and information. Above that, we're offering APIs and for location and planning. yeah, without further ado, that was for the introduction. I would hand over to Julia, who is a matter expert here, and would give you a little bit of a insight into this ZIP+4 products. And to you, Julia.
Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about the specs of the product. If you can start on the next slide.
Thank you.
So this products that we have two separate products, ZIP+4 and ZIP+4 Plus. These both have to deal with the geographic sublocations of the United States. Typically, ZIP+4 would be extra designation used for mailing things, especially if you're a business. But this data set that we have is unique in that we update it 4 times a year, and it is entirely complete. There are no holes in our data set where there is county information and where there is a building or settlement. There will be ZIP+4 information if it is available. We also can then, in our ZIP+4 Plus product, we add additional attributes which come from census data, Tiger data, some other data sets, and this includes core blocks. Even our regular ZIP+4 contains information like counties and subdivisions, such as here we are, Capelle and IJssel, which is a subset of Rotterdam. It would have both of that set of information. ZIP+4 Plus would perhaps have extra statistical information of the area where it's available. This is still under development, but this is where we're heading. If we go on to the next slide, I can go on to a particular use. Oh, not use cases yet. One, I want to just highlight how dynamic this data is. You would think that ZIP5 and ZIP9 codes would not be that different because it's a location. But the thing is, as you can see from our data, we have somewhere between about 0.5% difference per quarter update. So that means per year, your data delivery or your set of mailing addresses can be up to 2% different. So currently we're updating this data set quarterly to see how dynamic it is, but going forward, we're only going to update it perhaps once or twice a year. So yes, and not only do we have the continuous 48 states, we also have Alaska and Hawaii, but also the other outlying areas such as Virgin Islands, Guam, other territories, Puerto Rico. And this data is available first and foremost as an API, but can also be available as shapefiles. So now I'd like to go on to a hypothetical use case. So how can this data be used? How is it valuable?
Oh, sorry.
Well, this dynamic data set is it's oriented on WGS 84 or EPSG 3857. This is the most commonly used coordinate set by Google Maps, OpenStreetMaps, pretty much any major mapping software or any other maps you find are going to use this coordinate system. So with our ZIP+4 data set, you can overlay it on anything you want. So here I have an example that is the earthquakes in Southern California. This yellow dot you see is a very recent earthquake in the last week, and all of the red lines are fault lines. So if you are perhaps an insurance agency trying to sell earthquake insurance in the wake of a recent earthquake, you can target areas that are likely to be affected or that felt most visibly the responses of that, so you can pounce on it with marketing. So you can do your marketing by hyper-specific geographic locations. And so we go on to the next slide.
Okay, thank you.
We go on to the next slide, then you can see some of the other sub-classifications you have. So some of the highlighted information that's available for each of these data points. Yes, there's the zip code, the ZIP+4. You also see the city, the street, and so you can even see if you're expanding the route, what the carrier route is. So you could say, oh, I see that this data set, some of the areas we want to target are this one particular carrier route. Let's provide our advertising materials to this entire carrier route to be more efficient. It's already being provided to the area. Or however else you want to use it, this is some of the information that's available in our normal ZIP+4 product. ZIP+4 Plus will have additional statistical information where available. And now if we move on, I can show you with a dynamic live data set what this looks like in practice.
Okey-dokey. Let's hope the handover goes well.
Yes, indeed. So if you see my screen, what I have here in yellow is what was shown in pink just a moment on the slide. And this is a subset of a larger data set. where each of these points represents a settlement that doesn't necessarily have a unique ZIP+4 code, but is a settlement that is a mailable address. So this could be a business, a house, an institution, and there's separate dots for every bit of a coordinate.
I don't think we see the screen for now, right?
Can you see the screen?
I don't know.
Oh,
you see the screen?
I can see the screen.
Oh, okay, sorry, my mistake then. Sorry.
It's okay. And one other thing I would like to highlight about this information is earlier I had said this is a very complete data set. Looking at this, you might think that there are some holes in the data set, but if I pull away the earthquake overlay map from a moment ago, you can see that all of these missing areas are actually national parks or reservoir or reserves or some kind of place where people do not live, and any dots that are there might be parks, bureaus, or some sort of other business or entity that has an address in there. But within the settlements, you can see that the more densely the dots are located, the more densely populated it is, and the more addresses are available. Again, this information is either available as a shapefile or accessed via API. And via API, it could be reverse geocoding. If you have a particular address, you can type it in and it will tell you the ZIP+4 designation at the end, and that's a good starting point for figuring out your mailing list. And now I'll turn it back over to Thierry.
Good, thank you. That was quite good. So let me just show the windows. So let's hope this time it does work, right? It does work. You see my screen, right? It seems to be.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Julia, for the short demo. It's quite impressive, the numbers of ZIP+code you just say +4 you see in just these small areas, right? We're talking in, I think, in millions, even in that area already, right? It's quite amazing. So yeah, with that, I think we're at the end of our sort of a demo and intro section. I think, Caroline, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. I think the first one might be more relevant for Julia. The first question we have is, how accurate is your data?
I would say that our data is highly accurate in the fact that we don't just use one or two sources for our data, we cross-reference it with at least 3 or 4 sources. And this data set is updated up to 4 times a year. Not all of the individual sources are, but anywhere where we are uncertain of the quality of a certain data source, we can cross-reference it with the other data sources and cross-reference it with their own data sets from previous deliveries. And through these 2 verification processes, we can be highly confident in our data set. Another thing worth noting that I neglected to mention earlier is that this data set includes also post boxes. So we're expanding it to include all of the ZIP+4 designations that are within a particular post office post box.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer, Julia. The next question, I think, would be for Thierry. What is your price and business model?
Yeah, thank you. I think if you talk of business model, we have several business models depending on the use cases. One of which is obviously, if you call the API, it's pay per call, but it's a very typical business model. And the other is the use case where you use this data for GIS applications, such as the one that Julia presented right now. So it depends on numbers of users, and in the use case, we are, pretty competitive pricing here, and really the best is really to address this question and discuss it with your local representative, which is Priscilla. I think I have the details in the presentation here. Thank you. Yeah, she can go through it and give you the pricing. But we have several business models, and as a company of our size, we're really flexible and see to find a good solution. One thing I'd like to mention is that we're also offering the possibility to buy or license just one state, for example, because if you may have a use case for one state only, like California, for example, then we're happy to discuss with you a license opportunity for one state only. Yeah. I hope that answered the question first.
I think so. And the last question, again, I think, Julia, how would I match your data with maps, for instance, from here or Google Maps?
As mentioned earlier, this data set it uses the WGS84 coordinate system, also known as the EPSG 3857 coordinate system. This is the most common georeference system used by Google Maps, by OpenStreetMaps, by anything else. And if you happen to have a data set that's in a different coordinate system, you can usually fairly easily map it to this system, WGS84, and then you can overlay our data on top of that to make sure you get highly accurate locations.
So it's totally ready to be used in ArcGIS or any one of this application, right? For example, as well.
Or as standalone coordinates if that's what you need.
Yeah.
Or a standalone, just you feed in the coordinates and you get out the +4 attributes.
Sure, yeah. Good.
Okay, I think that wraps up our session. I don't see any more questions, so I'd like to thank you, Thierry and Julia, and wish everyone a very good day. So thank you, everyone, and see you on our next webinar.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a good day and stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.